Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to today's embodied cooking class. We are going to be making green and white chili. We have an array of things here. I don't think you can see, but we have all these peppers, we have cauliflower, and I'll talk to you about all of that in just a little bit. But first, we are going to do some breathing and set our intention for today, what we are going to experience today in this wonderful cooking class. So I think we're going to keep it pretty simple today. We're going to do 3 deep breaths, but we're just going to breathe all the way in as slow and long as we can. Pause for as long as feels comfortable. So retaining at the peak, and then breathe slowly all the way out, and then retain at the bottom, or pause at the bottom. So waiting in between both points of the breath, and really noticing what it feels like to be in that space. We don't want to retain so long that we're gasping for our next breath or feeling uncomfortable. We're wanting to soothe and soften our bodies as we go. So just keep those things in mind and follow your own body's cues. Okay, so here we go. We're going to breathe all the way in. To a comfortable peak, pause, and release. Pause, and then inhale again. Pause and release. Pause. Noticing any sensations, any hot and cold, or any emotion. One more inhale, last one. Make it your biggest yet. Pause. And exhale. And pause at the bottom. And then resume normal breathing again. There's so much information in our breath, in where we're holding it, and what feels comfortable, what might feel uncomfortable. And it's really not for us to judge. It's just for us to notice. And by judge, I mean, worry, oh, why is it, so much easier for me to exhale than to inhale? Or why is that, oh gosh, I'm like gasping. It's really hard for me. I can't go as long as Leanne is doing it. That's not okay. All these, that's what I mean. No judging. It's really witnessing where you're at, and that's information for you. Information for you to act on with loving compassion towards yourself, both now as we go into this practice of cooking together and cooking for yourself, nourishing your body. Everything that you are putting into it is going to be going into your body. It is what we are putting out into the world, and we want to be conscious of it. We want to be aware. We don't want to be sort of caught in all of the subconscious programming or doing everything without thinking, because then we don't really know what it is that we're doing. We may be accidentally stuck in these cycles of beating ourselves up, or, and I'm speaking for myself because this is something that I do all the time. I've certainly been there over the last few days of being very self-critical. And so my intention for today, I'm just going to bring my hands to heart center, is to bring compassion to myself, to be really consciously grateful for all that I have, and accepting of everything else that is here, and to give all of you whatever it is you need today. Okay, so let's get started on this green and white chili. It is another vegetarian chili, which is mostly what I'm doing these days. I'm not eating a lot of meat. I will, if you guys really would like to have more meat dishes or fish dishes, please let me know. I'm so happy to take requests, really. But if I don't hear too much from you, I'm going to continue to probably do a lot more plant-based meals, because that's where I'm at right now. And I think we could all use a lot more of them. They're inexpensive, they're wonderful, they're healthy, of course, for our bodies. They make us feel good. And yeah, this is just where I'm at. So let us begin with 2 onions. I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to smell it. Ooh, pungent. And so since I've shown you and talked so many times about how to cut an onion, I'm just going to be silent, and you can enjoy the beautiful sounds. Ooh. Okay. All right. And so we're actually going to get these going in here right away. I'll put a little bit of oil. And a bit of butter for flavor in the pan and just let it melt. I'm going to bring it down to medium. There's my little compost over here. That's the beginning. Onion. And get those in the pan really soon. But we're also going to do some garlic. I think the recipe calls for 3 cloves. Got these 2 little doubles, so we're going to use both of them. It's interesting. I definitely notice that when I'm quiet, I can often begin to feel self-conscious about, is this interesting? And I think what the difference between teaching and sort of creating entertainment is just that, I'm not trying to entertain you. What I'm trying to do is show you how you can be, to model for you how you can cook in a really intentional way, and how that intentional process can be a wonderful guide for the rest of your life. The butter and the oil are making themselves known, so we should not ignore them. Let's bring the onion over. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt in here. Because that will help the onion to cook down, basically, to release its juices a little bit more. Getting this little guy for stirring in a moment. So we have a bunch of garlic here. I think I said double cloves, so it's 5 or something. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of creating thin slices here. You can go quickly or slowly. You might as many feel, sort of look at me. I've done this so many times and think, gosh, I can't do it like that. Maybe you don't do it like this. You do it a little bit differently, a little slowed down. But you'd be really amazed at how quickly you can become a little quicker and sort of have the dexterity and grace maybe that you're really looking for. It's remarkable. I'm working with a friend of mine who has sort of thought of herself as like not like a non-cook, like she can't cook for a really long time, but she's wanted to. And she needed to come to that sort of on her own, the desire within to do something. And it's true of everything, right? Like an exercise program, anything that is sort of good for us that we want, we have to actually want it inside for it to happen. But anyway, I digressed. She, at first, was really uncomfortable about cutting things and so careful in this way that sort of slowed her down, or careful, more insecure is really the experience. Like, oh, should I do it there? Or that, like always thinking too much about it. But in just such a short time, she's become so much more confident. And it's incredible to see her cut something now, like night and day. It's really just experience. And I think what's so important about it's not that it's just experience. We talk about that a lot. Of course, we learn things just through repetition from doing them. But I think what's really, really important and what creates a much quicker way forward to that place you want to be is non-judgmental experience. That you are observing yourself and maybe noting, oh, I'm quite nervous about knives and I feel unsure about how to approach this and all those things. But all those things are okay. None of those things are important. None of them need be identifications of who you are. They're simply experiences that you're having. And therefore, as you observe yourself sort of benevolently learning something new, you can adjust the things that you want to because you're not going, oh, I'm such a loser for not doing this. You just go, okay, well, I guess I will learn that over time. And what you notice is when you're not all, because the thing about judgment, when we're judging ourselves, when we're insecure, we're tense, we're holding our body like, and it takes up so much energy and we're not really in the moment with doing it. When we're in the moment with doing it, we can learn. Really, like our body will learn. And I've talked about this so many times, but gosh, I hope for each and every one of you, for you to experience it at some level because it is so extraordinary. So the onions are beginning to brown, and there is a wonderful aroma coming from here. And I'm going to now add in our spices. So I'm going to add in some cumin seeds. And I'm adding them at this point because this allows them to get a nice amount of oil on them and heat from the pan, which will allow all the oils from them to mix in with everything. It'll be really flavorful. So cumin seeds, oregano. And you know what? I just chopped 2 jalapenos. So I'm actually going to skip the cayenne pepper. I think it's about a teaspoon, a little more of oregano. I might add a bit more. Whew, smells magnificent. I'm going to add about double what I just did because I realize it's a pretty big bowl of, or pot of chili we're making. So we're going to want more than that. Okay, another teaspoon of cumin seeds. So great. And then this is going to go in. And just for a few minutes. And then while we're doing that, let's get these beans ready. So I would go way over our time together, and I try to keep it to under an hour today if I was making this chili completely properly. So we are going to skip the sort of longer wait here, just so that I can show you what it looks like as a finished product. But for you, once we add in the beans and the liquid, just know that at that point, you really want to let it simmer for at least 45 minutes or even longer for it to develop flavor. Awesome. Woo. Yeah. Some browning happening. Wonderful. Just going to show you quickly before I will move the camera over here in a minute. This is what it's looking like. You see it's darkening, and that's what we want. Smells unbelievable. Woo! Jalapeno. This is, as you can tell, quite a spicy chili. You can very easily use just one jalapeno, skip it entirely. Totally, totally up to you. I'm going to add in the beans now, these white beans. And then a bunch of liquid, which really could be anything. Water is completely fine. I think I'm going to use, I have this leftover Guinness from making Guinness chocolate cake for my birthday the other week, and I don't drink. So I'm going to use this in here, and I'm going to just measure out how much it is. I think it's probably about a cup and a bit. Yeah, so we've got this very dark Guinness, which might be a little weird in this light chili, but we're going to go for it. Why not? And another, this is about 3 cups, I think, of liquid overall. Just great. Okay. So that's that part done. And now we're going to let this, I'm going to put it up to high heat so that it can come to a boil. And so this is the point where I'm saying bring it to a boil, then bring it down to a simmer, and really allow it to simmer for at least 45 minutes. I'm not going to do that, like I said, because we have a more limited time here, and I would love to take you through a 45-minute meditation, but I think that that will be going a little beyond. So we will just decide at some point to call it, and I'll add in the rest of the ingredients at that point. So I'm going to cut up this. The main other part of it is cauliflower and green chilies. You can get those lovely like canned green chilies, or you can get Anaheim. I got a poblano, which I love. So that's what I'm using. There's quite a lot of green. So you can see it's green and white. It's white for the cauliflower and the beans, and then green from these chilies, the bit of oregano and the onion. It's really lovely. And then at the end, you can absolutely add, and I always have before lately, a little bit of cream cheese and some cheddar cheese at the end. Just like thickens it all up, makes it super, super yummy. But I'm not going to do that today because I'm just not doing a lot of dairy at the moment. Let's take a couple more deep breaths. I am not feeling my best, to be honest. I have a bit of a sore throat and a cough at the moment. Trying to kind of take care. Take it a little easy. I hope you do that for yourself too. It can be hard when we get sick, especially. Oh my goodness, I have to tell you, as a parent of a young child, the amount of small illnesses that are constantly passing through the house, it feels like it's not possible to sort of live our lives and care for ourselves as often as we can get sick sometimes, but we have to. It's really our job to take care of ourselves. That's like our most sacred job. Taking care of our children, taking care of ourselves. We are our own children. And I feel so good about that, actually, when I think about what we're doing here together, because we are taking care. That is exactly what we are doing. And we can notice how good it feels to do that, to have that good intention toward ourselves. I'm going to cut this up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to cut this up a little bit smaller because I'm just thinking about the size of pieces that I really want in my mouth. And I don't want anything that's way, way bigger than the beans. I'm going to bring those back and cut them up a little smaller. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. But as always, up to you. You know, my sister Hannah always really likes everything to be big and chunky. And so for her, she would probably keep them this size or maybe even bigger. It'd be so wonderful if someday one of you could actually come and be here and cook with me in person. We could chat about what it feels like. That's so much of the magic is in really noticing. I'm always so curious to know what you're noticing as you actually go through this. Maybe we're feeling the same things, or maybe they're really different. I was just thinking that a shortcut in this chili might actually be to use frozen cauliflower, which is already sort of cut up into florets usually for you. You would still, I think, want to chop it up a bit more, but so you would need to let it come to room temperature so you could chop it up, but that would mean you didn't have to do this part, but it would also mean that you didn't get to do this part. The gentle sounds. The boiling is happening, so I'm going to just turn it down and put the lid on. And so now for you, 45 minutes until this next step. But for me, 5. Or something. This was a recipe that I made a lot when I was younger, when I was sort of first discovering cooking on my own, not in my parents' home. And I remember bringing it to like a chili cook-off thing, and it was so spicy. Everyone was like, it was good, but it was way too spicy for me. Hilarious. I think those jalapenos were particularly intense. Or it could have been a different version of it, to be honest. I have no idea. Fun to have those memories come up. Oh, I turned it down a little more so sizzling. We'll see if adding that Guinness was a good or a bad idea. There's no good or bad ideas. Just new experiences to be had, which we might find pleasurable or we might find not. Okay, cauliflower has been chopped. Now we're going to do our little poblano. And you can wash all this up between, but it's all going into the same place, so I'm not too concerned about it. Just going to remove the seeds here. I didn't do that, you'll notice, with the jalapeno because that's so much of where the heat is. But we don't really need to add more heat, and also in a larger pepper like this, it's not very tasty. And you might say, it's kind of funny that I'm adding this in now. Basically, I usually would use a can of green chilies, and that I would add in later along with the cauliflower. But I totally could have added in with everything else. Let it cook down a little longer. Develop a bit more flavor. I often think that a nice addition to this would be some sweet corn too. If that appeals to you. Green and white and a little yellow. Okay. So there we go. I'm just going to clean up my area a tiny bit here. Slowing myself down. Breathing. Just noticing how I'm feeling. Feeling like my throat kind of hurts. But that's okay. That's how it is today in this body. And maybe tomorrow. And hopefully not the next day. Okay, so now I am going to bring the camera over. Ask you to bear with me. All right, now here I am at the stove again. Yeah. Like I said, so for leaving this for about 45 minutes, it's going to thicken and get more flavorful. And so you're not going to see that really happen here because I'm going to add this stuff in now. What I might do after, just because I will want this to be a little thicker probably, would be to add in a little bit of cornstarch and water and make a little slurry and then add that in, mix it up, and it will sort of thicken everything up. And then I'll also season, make sure that everything's really well seasoned. And that's sort of how I'm going to bring some more flavor to myself for now. But hopefully you shouldn't have to do that if you wait a little while. But this is looking, like a really great base. And I'm going to add in all of this cauliflower and the poblanos. And then the other thing that will definitely thicken it up is the cream cheese and the cheese. Let me tell you. And just turn up the heat. And the weight here now is just for the cauliflower and the poblano to cook. I'm adding more salt because there's no salt in the broth because it wasn't broth, it was water and beer. And now I'm adding in so much cauliflower, so much vegetable, so I'm just needing some more salt. We're going to put a lid on it. And now I'm going to get my little tea. And meditate for a little bit. Just going to grab a spoon too for tasting in just a bit. I hope you like this one. It's different, but it's yummy. And if you didn't like it, that's okay. Tried something else, something new. Can try an old favorite next time. Trying something new is such a good in and of itself. And I know we say that a lot. It sort of becomes like a trope, I guess. Like, yeah, trying something new. But have you ever really noticed how when you try something new, how you feel. I think we often focus on like, oh, I feel nervous at first, or maybe you didn't enjoy it because you were focused so much on what you thought you were going to experience. But even when it's a sort of a bad experience, like maybe you had some discomfort or in this case, like let's say you don't like the food. It's not bringing that pleasure to you. And we can say, oh, well, that's a bad meal or that's bad, but it's just one part of it. Just one part of the entire experience. There's so much more to our experiences than that. And we can choose where to put our focus, and that determines how we can feel. If we're always labeling something as bad based on one part of it, then we're going to feel kind of bad a lot. I know it sort of almost sounds like mind tricks or something, but it's very powerful, these ways of thinking in my experience. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this down a little bit. And let's do a little meditation together, our stovetop meditation. We'll start by grounding our feet into the floor, really feeling our toes, pushing into the floor, every single one of them, all 10. And our heel pressing, and our arch and the balls of our feet, just everything pressing down. From that pressure, you can feel that moving up, 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 our calves, our knees, into our thighs, our hips, our glutes, up into our stomach and low back. Through the middle of our torso, our ribs, our chest, and our shoulder blades. And as you move through each of these parts of your body, just allow them to soften and relax. Move them in whatever way feels right for you. Bring them into the alignment that is just what you need. And up into our shoulders, and down our arms, to our elbows, to our forearms and hands. And up into our neck and head, our chin, our cheeks, our jaw. Definitely let your jaw relax. Maybe an audible breath or two. One more, releasing everything inside. And up into our cheeks, and our ears, our eyes, forehead, up into the crown of our head. And just allow yourself to be in your body. This wonderful vessel, breathing in and out. And all the senses that we've been using to cook, the sight, looking at all the colors, and the feel, using our hands and our arms and our feet and everything to move around and do. And the smell, and the taste and the sounds that have all been so important. Allow those to kind of melt into the background now. You go deeper into your body. Deeper into relaxation, softening. And now simply observe in the quiet of your mind your thoughts coming and going. Just observe them. One may be trying to tug you into a story. And if you can, breathe into that and come back to your observer standpoint. If you get pulled in, that's totally okay. But every time you notice you are growing your concentration, growing your ability to choose what it is that you focus on. That really is the key to freedom. Now allow yourself to go the deepest you've ever gone inside yourself. And just notice what you see there in your mind's eye. Now bring your awareness to that space just in front of you. For just 1 minute, focus all your attention on there. Bring some deep breaths into the body. Bring your hands to heart center. And when you're ready, you can very gently open your eyes. Allow your senses to go off out into the room again. Okay, thank you. That was nice. Gonna check on our little pot here of goodies. This is looking so nice. And something else that you could do here is if you have an immersion blender would be to just blend a little bit of this to create that thickness, blending up the beans and some of the cauliflower. I mean, it's actually quite, as you can see, so full of stuff, vegetables, that we're actually looking very good here. Let me just have a taste. And this will be different, like I said, from yours because yours will have been stewing longer. Ooh, ha, ha, ha. Lord. Good. Spicy. Needs more salt. The jalapenos are definitely very there in the back of the throat. There's also this warmth and creaminess from the beans and the cauliflower, which is really lovely. And the sweetness from the onion. Wonderful. I'd kind of like to show you it plated, but I think I'm going to leave it here for today. Just because this does need to cook for a little longer for me to eat it and enjoy it. But what we would do is ladle this out into a bowl. Oh my goodness, dirty bowl. How did that happen? A clean bowl. Ladle it out, and we would add some scallions or cilantro. My apologies, this throat situation is just coming to let me know right now, here at the end. So some scallions and cilantro, maybe a dollop of sour cream. Whipped cream would, I think, not be a great choice here. Sour cream, cheddar, something like that, serve it with tortilla chips, serve it with, back in the day, I used to serve it with focaccia all the time, with bread, with cornbread, of course, would be wonderful. Anything that is nice for dipping, this would be absolutely wonderful. I hope you enjoy it. It's creamy and smooth and delicious and spicy. And I look forward to next time. Namaste. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to go be quiet for a little while. Thank you.